Basically, it's just about embodying who you are, loving yourself, recognizing your natural gifts, because it's cliche, but there's only one you, right? No one else in this world has the unique set of experiences, outlooks, knowledge, and gifts that you do. And when you're hiding yourself, you're hiding your gifts and doing the world a disservice. And if you have a message to share, you obviously think it's important to share it, right? So don't you want to amplify it and allow people to hear you and receive that message fully? If you're hiding yourself, it's not going to come through as clear. It's going to be muffled. When you fully embody who you are, your message is loud and clear. And then the people who need it and are ready for it will receive it. The people who aren't, they'll move on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. So excited that you have joined me today. And as a reminder, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and leave me a 5-star rating so that not only you won't miss a single episode, but so many other people out there will actually be able to find this podcast. So I appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much. And I am so honored that you have chosen to listen to today's episode, because I got to tell you, ever since I met my guest, Amy Janece, I have been dying to have her on this podcast, because what I think she does and what she represents is something that is so not only powerful, but my level of curiosity is so deep that I can't wait to ask her so many questions on today's episode. So please join me in welcoming Amy Janece to the podcast. Hello, Amy. How are you?
I am doing wonderful, Wendy. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it is truly my honor. I am so grateful that we were introduced to one another. And I am really looking forward to our conversation today about how our listeners can learn how to harness the power of color. You guys, this is going to be so good. So turn it up. Take away any and all distractions, because this is why Amy is here and why she is an expert at this topic today. So Amy is an image consultant and stylist specializing in empowering professionals to look and feel like $1 million. She is an international best-selling author and a speaker, and she knows how important it is for people to see, trust, and connect with you to make the impact that you desire. She truly believes that you are a masterpiece and deserve to be framed as such. Amy shows you how to use the energy of color to dress with intention every single day, so your appearance, message, and outcome are aligned. Amy, I'm so excited for us to talk about this today. And I would love for you to share very briefly, how did you even get here? How did you discover this true talent and skill of yours? And give us sort of where you were and how you got to where you are today to be creating this magic in the world.
Okay, so it kind of started in high school, though I didn't see that until just a couple of years ago. I graduated early, but I needed one more elective class. I took fashion design because I knew it would be easy. That teacher started a club at our school, or our charter, whatever, of DECA, Distributive Educational Clubs of America. And to get extra credit and just, overachiever type of thing, I decided to go ahead and join that club. It was our second competition. Nobody knew what we were doing yet. Our instructor didn't know. We didn't know. It was a mess. Our second competition was for the state of California. And I ended up winning first place in fashion merchandising. I put it aside. I was like, okay, this means nothing. I didn't realize until almost 30 years later that it was kind of one of those little bricks in my yellow brick road, so to speak. So fast forward, I spent over 20 years hiding. So who you see today, it's kind of funny or not funny, but the irony that I used to be the girl hiding in the back of the room. I was a ghostwriter and copywriter, hiding behind other people's names. I worked for people behind the scenes, growing their businesses. Everything I did was behind the scenes. And then I decided at some point that, it's time for me to release a novel in my own name. Let me go ahead and do that. And I was introduced to an image consultant at a speaker event. I wasn't a speaker at the time, didn't have any desire to do that at that time either. I was there to support a friend. And they were like, yeah, you're going to meet this image consultant and it's great. She's going to change your life. She's going to tell you can't wear black anymore, but she's going to change your life. Now in my head, I was like, no one is telling me what I can and can't wear. I watched her presentation and I saw one little thing that made me think, okay, maybe this would be good for author photos, book signings, something like that. I can listen to a professional when I'm in that professional room because I do want to be seen in that room, right? And I didn't realize how much I was hiding at the time. So I got typed a lot. By being typed, it's a color analysis typing system. And it's we use the elements, not the seasons or other traditional methods. And I got typed with a group of other people. So first of all, I showed up as a water. I wore watercolors. I presented as a water. I identified as a water. She typed me as a fire, which was the one element I knew I was not. I was like, you're wrong. I know nothing about this, but I'm going to tell the professional, you're wrong. I don't like those colors. I don't believe those characteristics fit me. So I'm going to prove you wrong. I'll wear what you suggest for a week just to prove you wrong. She laughed. Now that I know what I know, she was like, yeah, okay, thank you. All right. So in less than an hour, I saw a major difference.
Wow.
The way that people were treating me, people that I knew and people that I didn't know. Well, we went shopping as a group. And after I picked out my stuff, I started helping the other girls pick out theirs. And she pulled me aside and was like, you really have an eye for this. You should let me train you. I was like, I have no desire. I'm concentrating on my writing. Well, after 6 months of paying her to type other people for me, my family, my friends, because I was like, this is magic. And I don't know if it's just me. And I started seeing the same results in other people. I went to one of her shopping retreats with my mom. And I was doing the same thing. And once again, she's like, you need to let me train you. I was like, no, have no desire. It took, I want to say a year and a half before I finally said yes, because I was like, well, I can just type my people instead of paying her to do it if I pay for the training. And then I ended up thinking I might as well reimburse myself for this training, right? So let me take on a couple of clients. The first time I publicly spoke about this business, that changed everything. I had a few people come up to me. I did get a few clients, so I got my reimbursement, but I had a few people come up to me and say, what you said just changed my life. Mm. And I got the chills and I got the goosebumps and I was like, okay, universe, I'm listening. Because and then a couple of other things happened.
I just got the goosebumps. Like
it's one of those amazing things. But then the clients that I had that I was kind of depending on, they were taking their business in a different direction, didn't need me anymore. And so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I am going in, right? Like when she trained me, I told her I have no desire to do this as a business. So I called her and was like, yeah, about that. I'm about to go all in. So I'm here now. And I can tell you that I've never been more fulfilled. I feel like I'm living my truth. I'm connecting with people on a whole new level. And when you take the veil off or the like a invisible cloak, right? Because we all think we want to be seen, but in reality, we're walking around like this, like, oh, I really want to connect with you.
Right.
And we wouldn't physically do that, yet we do that with the way we present ourselves. Colors hold energy. When we're wearing colors that are not in alignment with us, it's an invisible cloak. So at that time, right before I got typed, I was wondering, like, I was really struggling internally. How come no one is really connecting with me beyond surface level? And then boom, all of a sudden my connections were deeper. My income more than doubled. Like life was good. And I didn't have to pretend to be something else or that internal battle was gone. I could just be me. And the people who seen me and wanted to have that connection, who we were a right fit, things fell into place naturally. Like the connections I did have strengthened and new ones formed. And it's been amazing.
And you bring up a really good point, which is that, colors really do hold and emit energy, right? There's frequency in colors. So I would love for you to share a little bit more around how is that? And how is it that the colors that we wear, right? The energy that the colors we wear hold and what we're putting out, how does that influence our emotions, our behaviors, our decisions, not just personally, but also professionally?
Absolutely. Okay. So like I said, I type in the elements, right? So each element has its own color palette. We have all four of the elements in us. So this isn't like to smack a label on you and tell you, here's your box, stay in it. That's not what this is. Other than the colors, wear the colors that align with your energy. The thing is that a lot of us as children or even young adults, we might have been told you're not enough of this, or you're too much of this, or we interpreted messages that way. Or maybe we had traumas, or maybe we had to play certain roles in our household or in jobs. So we started acting in a certain way, right? I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you were told you talked too much as a child. So now you have this internal conflict of fighting with who you naturally are, because I need to not talk so much because that's bad. People won't like me if I talk that much. Mm. So while that's your gift, now you're trying to stifle it. And when you're stifling a part of yourself, you have that internal conflict, that internal misery. So you don't want people to see that. So you try to hide it. So it's totally subconsciously, we do that by wearing colors that don't let people really see and connect with us as easily. It's like a layer of armor, right? Psychological armor.
Right.
And by the way, for anyone who's like, yeah, I don't believe colors hold energy, whatever. There's nothing about colors. Why do we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on marketing, which a big part of that is branding and colors, right? There's a particular fast food chain, I'm not promoting them, just saying, with a particular shade of red, particular shade of yellow, kids love to go there. Well, those particular shades of red and yellow give out or emit or draw in hunger and excitement. Well, those are perfect emotions for a fast food chain, right? The kids want to go there. You're coming home from soccer practice, don't want to cook. Let's just stop there and grab it. And I'm sure you all know what chain I'm talking about. So we do the same thing with our colors. Yeah. And the fashion industry's lied to us. Sorry, but
ouch.
It happens. There's a particular color that they tell us it looks great on everyone. It goes with everything and it's slimming. What color am I talking about? But let me ask this in a different way, because it's going to get your mind thinking in a different way. What colors do burglars or stagehands or the people moving in the shadows that don't want you to see them and don't want to draw attention? What color do those people wear?
Black.
So how does that make sense? It's slimming because it makes you invisible. I don't want that kind of slimming, right? Black is like
no, and it's so not true. Like it's such a Jedi mind trick, right? It's like, and I'm going to digress like really quickly because you're making a point. Like I was listening to a recording this morning. It was talking about how like what we see is only like 10% of what we see is actually what we see. And the other 90% are the stories and the thoughts and the beliefs that we've been told is how we are supposed to think. So to your point, it's like we've been told, right? Black is slimming. Everybody looks good in black, right? Like everybody, it's a staple in your wardrobe. Like it's so freaking true.
Yep. But yet that's the color people wear when they don't want to draw attention. So,
well, and you wear black to funerals. Like, let's go there, right? Like, oh my God, Amy, it's so freaking true. So
I'm not saying black is a bad color. It looks great on 15% of people, but for the rest of us, not the best option.
So when we think about like our presence, right? Like thinking about how we are visually presenting ourselves in life, whether that is in our personal life, in our business life, for those of us that have podcasts, for those of us that have stages, for those of us who are out in the world seeking new clients, how can we use color in a way that is going to help us to actually amplify what it is that we're trying to communicate and represent ourselves to be, like our brand, like you were saying with that, TVD fast food chain?
I love this question. Question. So, okay. These are the 4 color palettes, right? I did not create these, but I'm the 3rd generation in this system. And so I do want to give, credit.
But they're created by somebody based on the elements that you group the colorings together based on. Did I say that correctly? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Absolutely.
So those of you who are listening, go watch this on YouTube so you can see the palettes that Amy just put up on the screen. Okay, keep going.
So those are the basic color palettes, the 4 that we fit into, right? That naturally align with our energy. Yes. To take it a step further, So this is actually my colors.
Okay.
So it's just the actual like fabric pieces of the same thing, right? On the back of these, it has energies. So every element has their own sets of red. Reds are very powerful, passionate colors.
Maybe that's why I picked this color to talk to you today, because I was so excited about this conversation.
So yes, and red amplifies emotion. That's why red, like if you really want to make a great first impression on like a date, or you want to have sexy night or whatever, wearing your red amplifies that. It also really exudes confidence. Like people, it's a power color.
Yeah.
However, wearing the wrong red for you is like you're walking around screaming at people, because it is a very powerful color, especially if they have their own insecurities. But when you're in the wrong red, it's going to overpower you. So we all have our own metals. Our metals ground us. They give us more of our own power. Like I have one of my metals is copper. My brother actually got me this dripped copper butterfly thing. So when I'm feeling a little insecure or out of energy or whatever, I'll just kind of touch this for a few minutes. But it sits right next to my workspace because it's grounding and calming and gives me that natural energy and power, right? I'll even go a step further. What I'm wearing right now and what I typically wear on stage is a combination of 3 different energetic sections of my color palette. One is my flesh tones. So this base top, like I wear my flesh tones because that opens my heart and it allows you to connect with me with no barriers. It's saying, hey, I'm open. I'm open to connect with you. So when I attend like 3-day events or anything like that, I'll try to mix that into my outfit every day, especially the first and second days, because you're meeting new people. I want you to feel welcome in my presence. And I want you to see me with no filters, right? Either we're going to connect or we're not. But that kind of speeds up that process, so to speak. My jacket is this teal color. Teal, actually, I'm going to give you guys 2 universal colors so that you're not like, I can't wear black, what can I wear? And freaking out. 2 of the 4 colors that look great on everyone are eggplant, which is that deep dark purple, and a true teal, which is like my jacket. However, for me, teal is also one of my dynamic colors, which is one of my power colors. So when I present on stage, when I'm doing podcast interviews or things like that, I'm typically in a combination of either my foundations, which help me stand in my power, and they're also like the staple of your wardrobe, kind of like your new black, so to speak. There's a lot of them, but so my foundations, dynamics, and flesh tones, I'll wear a combination of those 3 because I want to make sure that you can connect with me. I want to make sure that you see me as the expert on my topic. And I want you to feel comfortable with me. And I also want to stand in my own power and have that confidence, right? So that's what these particular colors do. Now, on the other side, you have tranquil colors. Those are wonderful for when you want to calm, relax, maybe even a lazy day. When you're, for introverts, if you're recovering from a really people-y event, your tranquils will help you relax. They're even great for your bed sheets. They're also good if you're going into highly volatile or emotional situations and you want to calm that down. One of my clients is a child custody mediator. And for her, she doesn't want to wear reds to her mediation sessions, right? You don't want to amplify that. Emotions are already high. She wears her tranquils. That doesn't mean that it's just like calm and everybody's like kumbaya. What it does, though, is it diffuses some of the hostility. Right. And in that kind of a situation, I'll take anything I can get.
Well, and I would imagine that she embodies that, even just having the colors on her. So it helps to kind of bring herself down, which, energy attracts, like energy is, it attracts itself, right? So if you're in that state, then that's really what you're able to create in the room around you. So that makes perfect sense to me.
Oh yeah. She said that her life has been a lot calmer since she's learned this, because she's not going into these situations amplifying this energy. She's like you just said, she's staying calmer. Yeah. And then the parents are able to kind of like, okay, we're here to focus on our kids. Like, of course, they're still very emotional and invested in it.
Sure.
But that volatile type of energy doesn't need to be part of that.
Like aligning what it is that we want to create in our external worlds has a lot to do with the colors we wear that allow us to feel what we do on the inside when we wear them, right? Like there is that, did that make sense? Like there's like a direct correlation to that, right?
Absolutely. One of the other pieces of this is stepping into your element and fully embodying your element. It allows you to really embody who you were always born to be, not who the world told you to be or molded you to be, or, trauma showed you this is how I can survive. It allows you to let go of that, fully accept and love yourself. And when you give yourself permission to embody your element, embody your gifts, and show up that way, not only is your life more peaceful, it gives permission to the next person to do the same. Because like you just said, energy attracts energy, right? And the most beautiful way that we can love other people is to truly see them and hear them. Well, that's the most pure, beautiful way we can love ourselves as well. So it creates that bubble of more positive, even though the word is overused, authentic type of energy, right? And you also know, like, I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, everyone in the world is my best friend. That is not how this is. There are people that I love dearly from afar, and I want to see them eat very well at another table. Our energy just doesn't mix at this point in life, and that's fine. But I would rather know that now. You know what I mean? I don't want to invest time and energy and all of these things into people I'm not aligned with. So by stepping fully into who I am, it allows me to see others more clearly because I'm not too busy trying to hide myself. It allows others to see me more clearly because I'm just here. I'm on display. And it's the insecurities are mostly gone. I'm not going to lie. I think that's a part of the human experience.
Sure.
So I'm not going to sit up here and be like, I have none. There's still a few, but they're not ruling my life. And when it bubbles up, I'm like, okay, that's that funneled insecurity. Like, let's, focus somewhere else. Basically, it's just about embodying who you are, loving yourself, recognizing your natural gifts, because it's cliche, but there's only one you, right? No one else in this world has the unique set of experiences, outlooks, knowledge, and gifts that you do. And when you're hiding yourself, you're hiding your gifts and doing the world a disservice. And if you have a message to share, you obviously think it's important to share it, right? So don't you want to amplify it and allow people to hear you and receive that message fully? If you're hiding yourself, it's not going to come through as clear. It's going to be muffled. Like that big old megaphone that's always muffly and tinny and you don't really like, what are they saying?
Right.
It sound like that. When you fully embody who you are, your message is loud and clear. And then the people who need it and are ready for it will receive it. The people who aren't, they'll move on. I mean, that's going to always be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, and, just to kind of bring our conversation full circle to, let's say that there's somebody that's listening to our conversation right now who's thinking to themselves like, oh gosh, am I wearing the right colors? Am I not? But I feel like I love this color. This is my favorite color. Should I still be wearing this color? How does that play into, because I always say, like, if I'm having kind of an off day, like there are certain colors that I'll put on that instantly perk me up, whether or not they are my element colors. I have no idea. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But how does that kind of that role of intuition play in with regards to like, if you put a certain color on, it shifts? Like, does that tend to align with this methodology that you teach and that you help your clients with?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So I think about half the time it's an alignment thing, and about half of the time it's a comfort thing. So for example, I felt very comfortable in gray. I wore it all the time. It was a soothing color to me, but that's not my color. It was soothing to me because I was afraid for people to actually see me.
Okay.
So it gave me comfort to hide. Also, water is like my secondary element, which means nothing for the colors that I can wear. It just means those are like my second highest characteristics, right? So sometimes like physical water cools me, calms me. I love being in the water. Watery things kind of simmer me down so that I'm not this like inferno. Right. So I do keep a couple of water type of things around me. I don't wear water clothes or colors, but I do keep like my headboard. Most of my bedding is gray. actually bought it before I got typed, but I realized that that actually kind of simmers me down and it does give me that cool, like
Right.
space to relax. So it could be that that's just your comfort zone because that's how you've been showing up. Or it could be that it is actually in your element. And so there's that natural draw to it. It's kind of usually one of those two things. And I have had people like, well, this is my favorite color and I just want to wear it. Okay. I'm not going to make you wrong for what you choose to do.
Sure.
What I will do is give you the information on how you show it best. And usually people who are adamant about, oh, I'm keeping this color even though it's not mine, I'm not giving up black or whatever the case may be, like I was in the beginning. Yeah, once you start wearing your colors and you start feeling that energetic shift and you start seeing how differently people react to you, you want more of that. Like my underclothes are in my element. Like 90% of the time, I would say I do have some black socks that I still wear with black sneakers, but I usually wear my element through and through because energetically I feel different if I don't. Like I have some of those old event t-shirts that I might wear around the house occasionally. And I don't feel the same when I wear them. So I've been rotating them out of my wardrobe because even that is like, what am I doing? Like it doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel great to me.
This is like taking the whole concept of Marie Kondo to like a whole other level, right? Does this bring you joy? And what I would love for you to leave our audience with today as we kind of try to wrap this episode is like, what would you say to somebody listening right now where you've piqued their curiosity and they're now starting to really be conscious and pay attention to, even me right now, I'm like thinking about all the clothes in my wardrobe right now. And I'm like, oh my God, do I need to like do a massive makeover? What would you say to somebody who's kind of starting to have those thoughts right now, like I am?
I would say one, get your colors done because you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right?
Right.
So getting your colors done would be the first step. And then work with somebody who can help you in the way that you desire. So some people love to shop. They see the colors, they understand it. They just need to be taught and shown how to do it. Other people are like, yeah, I still like my mother still can't see the colors to know if they're in her element or not. So in that case, get someone who can hold your hand and just take you through every step of the way. Other people hate to shop. They don't want to do it. So like I have clients that I take shopping and I have clients that I send them links. And also don't panic yourself and overwhelm yourself. Like, oh my God, I need to replace my whole wardrobe now. I don't know what to do. Calm down, like one step at a time. It's okay. Once you know, and you're in the position to start putting things in place, first of all, it will save you time and money because almost everything mixes and matches. And statistically, most of us only wear about 20% of what's in our closet.
True.
So that means that that other 80% is actually draining you energetically, financially, and everything else every time you look at it because of all of the time, energy, and money spent creating it and then going through it to find something to wear. So give yourself space though to like, if this is a new concept to you, give yourself space to embrace it, embody it, and understand it. Work with a professional. People who work with professional image consultants do earn an average of 30% more than their peers. So I would say that would be a great place to start. And like I said, eggplant and teal, those are two colors that look great on everyone. So if you're like, well, I don't know what to do now, get a couple of tops in those colors, see how you feel when you wear them and go from there.
Amazing. Amy, I adore you. I love what you do. I think this is unbelievably fascinating. And I want to make sure that people know where they can find you, where they can follow you to immerse themselves in even more amazing content that you create.
I would say my website is the easiest place. You could find my email, my socials, and everything else there. So the website is embodyyourelement.com, EMBODYYOURELEMENT.com.
Amazing. Oh, thank you for being my guest today. Thank you for doing all the work that you do. I think you are such a unicorn, and I mean that as a compliment. I think this is super fascinating. So thank you for joining me on today's episode.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And all of you tuning in today. Oh my God, what a great conversation, right? Like who knew? Like I feel like we knew, but like who knew at like this amplification level of how important color is and the power that color has in our lives. So I hope that from today's episode that you got some additional nuggets of information that you didn't have previously, and that this is motivating you to make some changes in your life, to really start paying attention to how it is that you are showing up. And that requires each and every one of you guys to pause and see the power in it, and even just reflecting back to yourself of what it is that you're wearing and what it is that you're putting out into the universe. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. As a reminder, don't forget to also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. You can find me at Wendy Page Sterling. And thank you guys for tuning in. I cannot wait to see you guys in the next episode. Sending you all so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.